Google Forms does not have to be used to only give quizzes and surveys. There are a lot of cool activities that you can create with a Google Form. A really fun activity that you can do in Forms is an escape room. And this may seem like a bigger undertaking compared to some of the other forms we created, and in some ways that is correct. But you can make these activities as simple or as intricate as you would like. The basic tool or skill that you're going to use with this, no matter what difficulty level you decide to make it, is response validation. Response validation allows you to lock a section of a test so that you cannot continue until you type in the exact code. So let's look at an example of how to do this. I've linked the form in the Winter Challenge slides, so you can take a look at that to see what it looks like from a student view, but let's take a look at it from the owner's view and how you would create this. So I've got my scenario, my story, and my first section, I just kind of introduce what we're going to be doing, and I start out with collecting the name. Notice that after section 1, I just continue to the next section. I create section 2, I've added a story, and I've also added my puzzle. These are the hints that that students will use to move on throughout the story. So when I create a question, again, I've made this a quiz so that I can have an answer key. But when I create a question, I want to make sure that I have an answer for what I want, as well as come down to the 3 dots and click on response validation. When response validation is selected, that allows me to require a very specific answer for students to move on. This could be a word or phrase, it could be a number, whatever you want your clue to be for this activity. So to do this, I'm going to go, it's going to start with number. I want text contains the clue or the correct answer that's in the answer key, and then a message that would pop up if they don't answer correctly. And then I just continue to do this for all of my different sections. Again, answer key, response validation, text contains the answer I want, and then a message that students will see if they do not answer correctly. We'll do this until we've reached our last part of the quiz, and then it will submit. So let's take a look from the student view. So for this activity, I've used a Google Sheets pixel art activity, and the way this works is students will just type in their answers, and it will give them the clue when they solve the math problem. So the first clue would be candle. All right, so I'll continue here. All right, second clue. Third clue. And let's type it in without capital letters and see what happens. All right, so I got it wrong. That's my answer. Let's try it again. There we go. And then at the end, I can just submit form. And that is how you create an escape room or story activity in Google Forms. Feel free to take a look and play with how to actually fill out the form yourself, or take a look at the pixel art activity that is attached to the form. But there are so many different options. You can make this as simple or as difficult for your students to complete or for you to build. However you want to do that, you have a lot of different options with this response validation tool.